Welcome to little project we've been working on past times. It's a podcast which we're calling High Octane Drives for now. My name is Nav. I'm joined by Max and James.
Howdy.
Hi.
Lovely enthusiasm right there. Anyway.
So professional.
Anyway, the goal, what we're trying to achieve in the next couple of weeks, maybe months, is we're gonna talk about cars.
Maybe years.
Maybe years even. Yeah, we're gonna talk about cars, cars we like, cars you like, cars you have suggested us to talk
Want to
about.
hear about.
Basically anything. So to start us off for now, we've decided to use this episode to introduce ourselves and try to talk about the cars that we like, so you have a view on what type of car people we are. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. So hope you enjoy that.
I'm a big Porsche enthusiast, I suppose. My sweet spot is anything pre-1985, I'd say. Really, maybe some newer, slightly newer, like the 968s and the 924s, those kind of cars. But my main forte is 930s and 912s, 911Ss. That's my sweet spot. Although I can come modern, anything Porsche, basically, anything Porsche. To sum up quickly, I like Porsches.
Nice.
That's going to trigger people. Porsches. It's a Porsche.
James, would you like to go next?
I suppose my taste in cars is quite varied. Anything that's, well, I was going to say stock, because I don't like tuner cars or JDM or any of that.
Anything factory.
Yeah, I suppose. My sweet spot, I'd say, is 1960s and 90s, I'd say. Those are where my sort of dream cars lie. But I am still massively into the modern stuff, and I've got a fair bit of knowledge of pre-war, but not fantastic. So yeah, that's where my interest lies.
To sum it up, Audi. That's my main brand. I've grown a love for that brand ever since I was like 12, and then just everything about it just interested me. I'll elaborate more on what Audi's in specific, so we can go into more in depth. But yeah, next to Audi, it's basically quite modern stuff, quite German stuff actually, and mostly I like cars that are a bit jack of all trades. So they're fast, but at the same time they're station wagons or saloons, or maybe even fast Grand Touring coupes. I like
Fast but usable.
Exactly. Versatile is what I like to call it.
Fair enough.
One thing I would like to throw in is what started everybody in cars?
Oh, that's a hard one. James, I'll let you go first.
That's quite easy for me. My dad has a big passion in cars, and ever since I was very little, arguably too little, because I almost got deafened by quite a few cars. But ever since I've been very, very young, I've been going to events, shows, Silverstone, or like wherever really, all over England. And yeah, I guess I see him every week or so. We usually talk all about cars, spend a lot of time in cars, and lucky enough to share some pretty cool adventures with him in the world of automotive. So yeah, my dad, basically.
Alright.
I quite boringly have the exact same story. My dad's been a mechanic for the past 30-something years, 40 years. So when I was born, we had a variety of cars. It's not really a big variety. We had 2 Range Rovers and an Escort. Whoa, variety. No. It was always a case of everything we did had a little bit of automotive spice on it. So if we were just going out, it would be this or that, you know. If I had days off school, I'd be in the workshop with my dad. Stuff like that, you know.
Yeah,
And it's just little things like that all add up into a stupid addiction that I have now.
that sounds very reasonable.
uh,
Yeah, interestingly, mine didn't actually start with my parents being that into cars. My dad did pick up some interest from his brother, who was way more into cars, but he himself, he sees cars as tools and, as things. That's why he owned a Peugeot when I was born. And basically...
Maniac.
Yobbo. Maniac.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, I developed I developed it out of, well, I would say nowhere. Just, you get the toys, you get the toy planes, the toy cars, and for me it was always the toy cars, and that never went. And then my parents would actually help me when we were going on vacation or when we were going to certain places, that there was always something car related to do for me. And I really enjoyed that, and that actually continued my passion for cars and made me want to learn more about them. And that's why I've been chasing them all my life and trying to, every opportunity to get into cars, to get into events, to get to places where cars are relevant is an opportunity I wanted to take. And that has concluded in me now, still being very obsessed by them.
See, this is something interesting. This is something I think we can segue onto here. Is we all show our passion for cars in very different ways. For example, me being 16, I've already owned 2 cars because I had, I was in the position to buy them when I bought them. But for James, you're in the same position, right? You're in your second car now, right?
First.
Does everyone not count then? Right.
Well, it wasn't really mine.
You drove it. I kind of saw that.
I drove it.
But I think what I'm trying to say is we all show passion in a different way. Whereas I bought 2 real cars, Nav has bought 150 143
Yes.
model cars. Would you like to talk about that, Nav?
Yeah, well, in short, I don't have a real car yet. I try to drive my dad's as much as possible, but for me, I don't have a car yet. Until I can actually afford a car, I have indeed a quite sizable model car collection based on the cars I've encountered in my life and the cars I'm willing to encounter in my life. So we might talk about that more in the future. For now, it's something I'm quite proud of, and I do have an Instagram account which we can.
I think it's pretty special. Yeah, I'll put an overlay of the Instagram account on the screen now. But I think it's pretty special what you've managed to do with that, because this I know it's only model cars, but it's such a variety of cars and different specs, different. I just find it incredible.
Yeah, thank you. That's actually it's well, basically the toy cars you all have as a kid. It's basically that, but then got out of hand and got very expensive in the end as well. But it's something very fun to invest in, and they're going to keep their values quite well if you preserve them well as well. So it's something I'm enjoying for now. I'm not sure how long it will take me. Not sure how it will affect me actually buying a real car. But I mean, we're just going to go with it for now.
Shall I be a bit less vague about my things? Yeah, so basically, about 2 years ago, I learned to drive in a R53 Mini John Cooper Works. Not the most sensible car to learn to drive in.
We can throw some pictures of it up on screen now.
Yeah, it's more powerful than I could possibly get for my first car, because UK, if you don't live in the UK, insurance here is a bit of an issue, particularly for 17-year-old males. But yeah, so I learned to drive in that, which is good, really fun, love that car. And eventually, now as of a few weeks ago, I've now got a Mini 1 with a JCW kit on it, so it looks like a John Cooper Works, but it's not.
It's an F56, right?
Yeah, 2017 model.
Nice. Are you planning on wrapping that, or have you decided you like the colour now?
Yeah, I've decided against that, partly due to money. We got a rather ludicrous quote almost half the price of the car to change the
Jesus.
colour. So
Fucking
yeah, and
hell.
I'm learning to love the white. Yeah, obviously you'll put a picture up now. It's
Yeah.
pepper white with a black stripe.
It's a very
When I
good-looking
first
car,
saw
I'll
it
give
in
you
the
that.
pictures, yeah, thank you. I first saw the pictures, I didn't fall in love with it. It was a bit boy racer-ish, but
Has
my dad
it
felt
got a
the
black
same.
roof?
It hasn't at the moment. The stripe carries through to the roof. Might change that.
Yeah.
Gonna do a couple of renderings, see if, see what that looks like.
Yeah, I think a black roof is definitely the way to go.
hmm Oh, so originally
for
we were
sure.
thinking of repainting it green or respraying it or whatever, but yeah, basically price. And after seeing a few on the road, it really doesn't look that special unless it's in direct sunlight. And we live in England, and there is a significant shortage of that. So yeah, white it is.
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot worse colours you could have on a car. Like it's a metallic white at the end of the day. It's bloody
Yeah,
it
yeah.
must be bloody lovely in the sunlight.
Mm.
Now I must speak about one thing to do with it though, the yobbery, the speaker in the back.
Oh yeah, okay. So this was completely unexpected. We went to go and look at the car with, I'd say, 70% chance we were going to buy it if it was good enough. And he opened up the boot to see how much boot space there was, and then there was a JBL subwoofer taking up the entire boot.
We can throw a picture up here. We can also put a sound clip in or a video clip in here.
Yeah.
Showing the sheer power.
Yes.
So yeah, the owner sort of looked at my dad and me like, well, do you want me to remove that? Do you want that? And I looked at my dad, waiting for him to say, "Oh, remove that straight away. That is too dangerous. You should not have that in your first car. You're going to die." But he actually said, "I'm sure James would love to keep that," which I do. And yeah, it's still in the car, and it's
James can fucking rock to some fucking catty wobblers in the whip.
yeah.
Fucking Mac and
Yeah.
G in the background. Nice.
It'll just be a picture of James's Mini with just bwah, bwah, bwah.
Nice. Right, so Max, you said you've owned 2 cars. What are those cars?
Oh, triggering my PTSD. I've the first car I ever bought was my 1982 Mini City E. Lovely car, lovely to pieces. Never probably got to drive it. We got it running momentarily before it died. But it was meant to be a full restoration project as my first project car, and I was really looking forward to it. I was, I mean, it's a classic Mini. It's one of my dream cars. But sadly, I couldn't pursue that, and I had to pass it on to somebody else. But
fit?
I did fit at the time. I won't now, but I did fit.
Ah.
This was before I grew like an extra 4 inches. So like, yeah, yeah. It was a fucking, it was such a lovely little car though. I've still got the original steering wheel in my bedroom, and I think anyone can vouch for anyone when you're talking about classic Minis. They are lovely little mowers.
Mini gang.
Mini gang, and
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you mean? You own 2 BMWs?
That's a way other discussion about the current and the historic Mini.
Yeah.
Which we'll
we'll
get
leave that
to,
for another
actually.
episode. We'll leave that for an episode when we
Exactly.
have the unapproved Mini enthusiast on.
Oh yeah, exactly.
My second car was an absolute sack of shit. Mark V Golf, 2-litre diesel. Sorry. I'll tell you what, the colour on it was bloody gorgeous. It was like I don't know what it was called. It was a red. It was a metallic red, so it had kind of like an orange tint to it. It was bloody lovely. Considering it was 150 quid anyway. I got that car. It had BBSs on it. It wasn't too bad. I only paid 150 quid for it, which is a pretty good price for a Golf, especially a Mark V. That's incredibly good.
Did it work?
Yeah, it did. Yes, we drove it home. We drove it to the workshop.
Wow.
And when we got to the workshop, I had to spend 2 weeks completely redoing the interior because it had got mouldy. Very nice.
Oh, nice.
I'm sure I have some pictures somewhere. I have to find them though. If I don't have any, I'm sorry. But we completely redid the interior. A friend of mine and I, we completely redid it. Now it looked gorgeous. We completely detailed the car, just for somebody to stab some holes in it with a screwdriver, and then say that it was too shit for us to continue working on. So we had to scrap it, sadly, which did make me sad. But luckily, I did sell some parts to my friend Jordan, who threw them on his Mark V at the time. So he got my hubcaps, and I'm pretty sure he got my mud flaps as well. But yeah, if I'm honest, I don't think I'd buy another Volkswagen because it was an awful experience. But I guess I got unlucky and I did buy a really cheap one. But maybe I'll buy another one eventually. I don't know. Anyway, if I do buy one, it will be very far in the future. Yes, more to come on the channel when we eventually all start driving.
Special.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off! We're just gonna talk about the emission scandal.
We're gonna talk about the guy who actually founded Volkswagen.
Well, now I think it's time. Fuck it, Kona time.
Yeah, the most interesting
This will be fun to
story
listen to.
related to like my car owner, air quotes, ownership. Sorry, is that basically I'm more of an advice on what my dad has to buy as a daily driver for cheap than actually owning it myself. I am planning on getting something in a few years' time. Not really sure what it will be yet. I have a few wild plans and a few reachable plans. But basically, in the meantime, I'm shopping for my dad's cars and helping him because, as I said, he's not really a car person. And basically, he's been a big, fan. He has had good experiences with Peugeot, so he has owned a couple of them, and it actually, the few he had were actually quite reliable for the French cliche reliability. And then he got a 308 station wagon from like the first generation, and it was absolutely horrible. It was one of the worst cars ever built.
Hold on. How did we go from the Kona to talking about Peugeots?
I'm getting there. I'm getting to why we settled for a very small Hyundai CUV. Anyway, in short, then the 308 was horrendous. Never ever buy that generation of Peugeot. The engine was just insanely unreliable. I think if you were lucky, it actually ran on 4 cylinders.
In short.
I'm getting there. It's a nice story.
Nav, explain something for 5 minutes, Nav. So anyway, in short.
Alright, anyway, that was a disaster, and it ruined the whole Peugeot brand for my dad. So he wanted to go for something that was actually brand new, and it needed to be kind of affordable. And I decided to check on like the more affordable brands, and one of them was Hyundai. And well, they're a bit cheap and plasticky in like what everybody has for experience with them, but they're actually very reliable. So he checked it out, and the one he liked most was the small SUV they offered, the Hyundai Kona, and that's been his daily driver for the past year and a half now, which is the car I have the most driving experience in. And it's actually very fun to own a brand new car because it's just everything you have done with that car in the entire history of the car is your memories, and everything works. And well, I've grown a big fan to that car, even though it's a bit boring and a bit SUV-ish. So yeah, that's why we might occasionally make Kona memes, because that's actually the car I'm one of the few people I actually like.
Yeah, well, I think any car that you have your first sort of driving, I don't know. Well, I wouldn't say your passion develops through it, but if you have your first experience out on the roads, I think that's always going to be memorable.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter what it is.
For sure, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
yeah, I mean, I think it's a very interesting car. It's definitely not a car I'd own, and it's definitely not a car I would ever fucking own.
Yeah.
Or even consider. In fact, I wouldn't touch it with a 6-foot barge pole. But I can understand the kind of liking towards it in a way because you have the memories.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
in a way,
there's going to be a picture of one on the screen right now. Maybe even the actual one that my dad owns at the moment. Basically, for those who have no idea, it's a car that was from the ground up designed as an electric car. So you can actually get it with an electric engine or electric drivetrain. But then they had to make it like price competitive. They had to strip out the entire thing. So the petrol version is the afterthought one actually. So it's a bit cheap and a bit, it was never actually supposed to have a petrol engine, and the petrol powered ones are significantly rarer here. Everybody wants the electric version. But yeah, it's actually it's an interesting car for that matter, because it does actually have like all the electric car gimmicks, just not the engine.
I think it's cool. I think hybrids are very interesting. But like I say, I don't really like them.
Yeah, it would never be a car I'd own myself, and if I would own a Hyundai, it would be like either the small and cheap versions like the i20 or like an i30N. That's the only Hyundais I would buy myself.
Recording. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so swiftly moving on.
Yeah.
Basically, we don't know how Zoom works, and we overstayed our visit.
Yeah.
Just teething issues. First episode.
Yeah.
Forgive
Yep.
us, it'll be fixed.
Anyway,
If one of us.
yeah, no, I'm
It's
not paying.
premium.
Anyway, swiftly moving on. Nav, I'd like to ask you about your electric experience with the I don't know what models they are. One's an Audi.
Yeah.
Jaguar E-Pace, I-Pace.
Yeah, the Jaguar I-Pace and the Audi e-tron.
Yeah.
Basically, for a project a while ago, I think it's a year ago now. I tried out two electric cars, just to compare the two and to have a bit of experience in electric driving, and they were the rivaling like premium SUVs by Audi and Jaguar, the I-Pace and the e-tron, as we said. And yeah, I just had them both for like an afternoon of driving and photographing and getting to know them, and that were probably the two best drives of my life. It was very fun to do.
What do you think about electric cars? So how do you think the market's going to sway?
I mean, I know it's a bit of a controversial subject in the car community, because you obviously you lack the the sound, and some people say most of the experience. And it's true, they're mostly a bit heavy, so all they have going for them is acceleration. It's a whole different experience at the same time as it's just driving a car. I mean, it still has pedals, it still has a steering wheel. I have no experience with like regular Jaguar models, but I have experience with some regular Audi models. And basically, it's just.
When he says regular, he does mean regular. He's not on about like Forza regular. He's on about actual regular. So
actual
about,
cars, yes.
Like the A classes, the A
Yeah,
series. That's both Mercedes and BMW. It's not Audi.
Yeah, the A3 and the A4s and such.
The A range. That's what it's called.
Exactly. So basically, yeah. I think it's a very interesting concept. It definitely needs some adjustments, especially in like how much you can drive on one charge. I found it a bit disappointing to have the what we would call in a regular car the fuel meter. It's a bit disappointing to see like 80% charge and then like 300 kilometers, which is about 180 miles, I think. It's just if that's your almost your peak capability, it's a bit disappointing.
I think as much as I hate stand up the EVs here, I think that will definitely develop over time. This is a fair concept.
Yeah. And
over time, that will get much better.
Exactly, and if you see the Teslas now, they can achieve like 300 miles, mostly more.
I'm still waiting. You know what? There's only one electric car that I'm actually really excited to see, and it's the new Tesla Roadster.
Yes.
But we will save that for another episode.
Exactly.
Electric special.
No, for now, if I would say like a Porsche Taycan or a Tesla Model S is like the actual like exciting electric cars for the moment. I do see the I-Pace and the e-tron both as slightly faster SUVs. Like they're not.
Let's just not talk about the fucking Model Y.
Exactly. That's the type of cars people want to buy for.
Funny edit here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Porsche Taycan's the only one production electric
Taycan
car
is bloody brilliant.
that's I properly like. Like, even if it was petrol, I'd love it.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't quite understand is the Turbo S name, but I suppose it's heritage at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes more sense now. They have the base models. Like you have the 4S, which is also how they call the Carrera. Actually now they revealed this recently, a Taycan, which is like a Taycan full stop. It has rear-wheel drive and basic battery specs. So yeah,
so that's basically to put it in the terms of like someone from, I don't even know, just POV spec basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about
the cheapest one.
Okay. This is what I love about Porsches. They're affordable from every range now, especially if you're like, no, okay, I probably shouldn't talk about it now, but we're going to anyway. If we look at like the 996 generation of like the 911s. They're very cheap now.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, and it's like the early, is it 986 Boxsters, stuff like that?
Yeah, 986.
I don't like that
Very
generation,
early.
but that can be a special.
I don't think anyone likes that generation, but the point is you can get it for what, less than...
Yeah, they're cheap.
Yeah, they're very affordable now. Right.
And I think we can leave it here by saying that the Cayman, the most superior Cayman, is the 981.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
GT4.
Oh, as well, yeah.
Spider. Yeah.
That's not a Cayman. That's not a Cayman. You said the most superior Cayman is the Boxster Spider.
Well, that's a bit semantic. They're the same car. One of them has a roof.
And they are the same car. Okay, it doesn't matter. Yeah, Boxster Spider, fantastic car. Move on.
I was going to ask about Roland's collection, but I feel like we can have a special for that when he's here himself. So, I reckon that's something we can do in the future.
That's a special. How many specials are we doing?
Yeah, we have a lot of shit planned out, so...
If you're still listening, congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. If you're still listening to us rambling on about random shit, then...
Honestly, if you've stayed this long, how?
Yeah.
You have to listen to Nav talk about fucking Hyundai Kona.
Yeah, I expected people to all just Alt F4 their way out of there.
The best thing is that bit definitely just got randomly cut off.
Oh, that's true, actually. I think we need some serious editing in that part.
Oh, no, I was going to cut it. All gone. Fuck off.
I just skipped that bit anyway. Back.
Wait, we should re-record it. Nav, do you have any interesting cars? No, I don't. Moving on.
Oh god, right. Okay, well, I warned you guys about this at the start.
Yeah.
Any car in the world right now, what would you own? First thought, go. First thought, don't think about it, just go. Say it.
No, you can't say that, because I've got lots of cars, model cars to the side of me right now, and then that could, like, disrupt my random thought.
Make a random pile-up of the bunch. No, I'm kidding.
Does it have to be new? No, it doesn't have to be
No, not at all. Anything.
Oh, shit.
James, why don't I let you think about it for a bit, and then I'll throw in my first intuition.
Oh yeah.
So basically, this is going to be very, very expected for people who know me, and if you don't know me, it's basically either the 2018 Audi R6 Nogaro edition, the one that App did with like 700 horsepower, or the brand new Audi R6, which just gone on sale a few months ago, I think. It's basically what I said at the beginning. It's like a 600, even 700 horsepower super station wagon. Lots of room in the back, big V8 engine in the front. It's just the type of car I really enjoy for some reason. Like I know like the previous generation Audi R6 was famous for not being able to like like it doesn't have sports car handling. It's just a slightly adjusted A6, but it's
See,
just so
this
fun.
is what I love. This is how you know we're car guys, because I said, yeah, one car in the world right now, and we all come up with at least two. Because for me, it would be the 997.2 GT3 RS, or a 911R.
Yes.
Either or, I don't mind. Like, oh, I just can't even
I've got
like
one.
manual Porsches.
Yes.
Porsche.
Okay, so the car that I suppose I've been drooling over it on Instagram is an Aston Martin GT8.
Yes.
Particularly Henry's car barns
Oh,
one
yes.
that he has
Oh, that
been
thing's
working on
lovely, man.
over the past few months.
Put
So
a
now,
picture of that on
Lights.
right now.
Rally lights,
Yeah.
it's green,
Oh.
it's wing delete, it just looks so good.
It looks the business. It really
That's probably
does.
the best spec Aston Martin from recent years. It's so good.
Yeah, so I'll say that for now because I just love it.
That's a very good choice, to be honest.
So basically, we've got manual-powered British sports cars, manual-powered German sports cars, and crazy German powered-up station wagons. That's us.
That is us, yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
That does sum us up pretty well, honestly.
Yeah.
Um,
But while we're on that subject, actually, with all the Porsches and German station wagons going on, one kind of backup car for me, if the R6 doesn't work out for whatever reason, would be the Panamera Sport Turismo.
Ooh.
Like the station wagon Panamera they did.
which one? Did
I'm-
they only offer that on the most recent models? I'm going to be honest, I'm not
yeah,
very clued
yeah,
up on Porsches.
what's the generation called again? 971, I think.
Not a clue. I
They
tell you what, it doesn't look bad. It's like they took the original Panamera that looks
Yeah.
a bit like a whale, and
I
they
hate
made
that
it
car.
into a bit less of a whale.
yeah, exactly. Only thing
I
I'm
think
not too
if
sure
I-
about
oh, gone.
is that when you compare the raw numbers of the like the cargo compartment, it's not a very big gain. I think difference is like something along the
Honestly,
lines
though,
of 100
I
liters.
think what you lose in space, you gain in look on that car.
Yeah,
'Cause it's
that's
really hard to
that's
make a car
basically
like that look
everything.
good.
And you lose the
Yeah.
tacky spoiler from the turbo models.
Yeah, the one that just like
Oh, actually,
fucking Optimus Prime.
Yeah, exactly. It just goes up and on the side.
so you have
Insert video.
were you talking about the hybrid now or not?
Well, I'm tempted to say yeah, because like in raw power, it's just the most powerful station wagon they've ever done. But the regular turbo is just as good. As long as it has a V8, I'm fine with it, honestly.
Can you list the actual name for the Panamera hybrid, like the top of the range
Oh,
Panamera,
right.
the most expensive one? It's long.
That would be the 2018 Porsche Panamera Generation 971 Sport Panamera Sport Turismo Turbo SE Hybrid.
Correct.
What the fuck?
Wow, that is impressive. I had to Google that.
Yeah, basically, if you
Fucking hell.
if you look it up, it's actually pretty understandable because they don't do like well, I think they do a regular e-hybrid version, but it's like the 4S. So basically, they don't do a Turbo S version anymore. So it's always a Turbo S e-hybrid. And well, then there's Sport Turismo, then there's Porsche Panamera. It's a ridiculous name. I agree.
I'm still processing all the words you said.
It's longer than the car. Yeah.
No, it's definitely not longer than the fucking car.
Oh,
I think-
actually, I've got a question. Panamera or Taycan right now?
Oh Ooh.
Taycan looks better, so Taycan.
no, Panamera.
Interesting.
I don't know. For now,
Really?
I feel like the Taycan is one of those cars that the next generation will be the sweet spot. But this generation is just
I
them.
don't know. This current generation just looks insane
It's
to me.
it's
I'll
nice,
put some pictures
but
up on the screen that I've seen recently. One that Reese to his story, one that I shared to the group chat the other day. There's one that's grey with gold wheels. The one I said was red with gold wheels.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Oh
that's
my
good.
God,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
glorious. It's just such a stunning specification.
yeah. I
and
think
he's like, oh,
on looks the Taycan does have the advantage of being slightly less whale-ish. I think.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's
Let's just do a comparison of the booties.
yeah, exactly.
You know.
Because if you've seen those executive spec Panameras with like the long wheelbase, they're not proportionally accurate. Let's be honest.
Actually, you know what? I think I retract my statement on one case, and that's just it. Just depends on models, honestly. Because if it's Taycan Turbo versus the normal Panamera, you know, the diesel one, then obviously I'm going to take a Taycan,
Yeah.
right? I'm
Not
the only
about
one who's
both
gonna
top
say-
of
yeah.
the range.
I think I think I'd have to say Panamera, but only if it's the Sport Turismo.
You mean the Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid Sport Turismo?
Yeah, exactly. But what if the upcoming Taycan Sport Turismo counts? Because they're actually
It's
going to
not
make
gonna
one.
be a
Yes,
hybrid, is it?
I'd take that.
No, but it will be a fully
gonna
electric
be a-
version of the Panamera Sport Turismo
Yeah.
that will actually look a bit better, I think.
Here you go. I want to just scar James real quick because I know that he's googling on the side to make sure that he's up to date with what we're talking about. So I'd like to really quickly talk about a certain Panamera. I think it's a previous gen, but no, it's a new gen.
Oh no! Oh no!
DJ La Fuentes. I think. I'm
Oh right, yeah.
I think one car I really quickly would like to talk about, James, is your profile picture on the cool. I would like to just have a quick
we
story
bring
about
that
that
into
if we
the
can.
introduction,
I
are
mean, we might as well. I mean, I think it's probably turned into the main car on your Instagram page. And if anyone knows your Instagram page, then they will
Hard
know it.
obsessed. Plug. Okay, yeah.
At
Such a
car.obsessed.
fucking
Okay,
Right.
so the car on the picture is a Norwood Racing P4. It is a recreation, not replica, of the Ferrari 330 P4, which is obviously a 1960s Le Mans Ferrari. You might have seen the latest film, Le Mans 66, Ford vs Ferrari. It lost.
Do you know what? I
but that
actually
doesn't
still haven't
matter.
seen that.
Same
Oh,
actually.
fantastic film.
Fuck.
Oh,
should
call
do
yourself
that.
car guy. You haven't even seen that film. Yeah, you
No,
need
I
to
couldn't
watch
get
that.
to it. I couldn't get to it.
Calling himself car guy, but have to look up what a Porsche Panamera is called, bruh.
Oh, come on, it's got about 8 names. Anyway, it's a Norwood Racing P4, recreation of the 330 P4. It's been one of my dad's sort of dream cars growing up. Obviously, there's only
James, could we get a picture of the model? The picture of the model he bought.
Oh yeah, okay, I'll send that now. Picture.
Would you like to tell that story?
Oh yeah.
Just so I don't
it's been one of
seem
his-
random for asking for a picture of a model.
Yeah, it's been one of his dream cars for ages. Only one original, but he went to Amelia Island, Concord, which is a Concord. I think it's in America. Don't actually know. Awkward.
Yeah, it is.
And there is a model. Obviously, at these massive car shows, there's loads of stands selling stuff, usually useless and expensive. But this was actually useful and expensive. And he went up to the guy and said, the only person who's going to buy this model, this particular model of a 330 P4, is the person who owns it. And the guy said at the stall,
Yeah.
You can have it for half price if you get a 330 P4. And my dad said, what if I say I can do my best? And a few months later, he bought the Norwood P4. And
Which I'd like to say really quickly, right? For anyone shifting on it because it's a recreation, just listen to this.
So yeah, this car is a recreation of 330 P4. It's got a bit more horsepower. It's somehow road legal. It's registered in Montana because, it's let's just say it's on holiday here in England and has been for 18 months. But he bought it in Dubai originally, Tamini Classics. You might have heard of them. That's been in a few YouTuber videos. And yeah, he originally had it shipped to America, did a couple of rallies without me. I didn't even know about the car back then. And then one day,
that's actually really cool because I remember you telling us when it happened. Like you didn't know about it till it was in the UK, right?
No, I heard about it in America, Car Week 2018. I heard about it because he was going to look at it before it was being shipped back over to the UK. And I didn't really understand because I knew they were so rare and I knew you wouldn't have bought an original, so I wasn't really up to date with the whole. And I don't think any of you had heard of Norwood Racing before.
I actually hadn't. No, I hadn't heard of it until you.
No, me neither. Me neither.
And then Sam did a video on them, which is an incredibly cool video to watch.
Yeah. So this particular car was built by this guy Bob Norwood in America, Dallas, I think, for a Ferrari racing driver who couldn't get hold of an original 330 V4 at the time.
How surprising!
Yeah, but he really wanted one. He really wanted to drive one. He had his own private track, and he said to this Bob guy, "Can you build one up closely matched to the original? Preferably a bit more power, please. Thank you." And he did, and eventually, it came for sale. But the guy kept it, so it was the actual recreation was built in the 1980s, and he bought it a couple of years ago, and it's currently being tuned, which you guys don't know, but it is.
I didn't know that. No.
Big scoop in this podcast. Can I just ask real quick? What's actually the engine? What is it like an original or is it like a rebuilt engine?
Yeah, so no, it is properly hand built to match the original.
It's a V12, right? I think I read about it.
V12.
Yeah. Obviously it's a V12.
So it's not like they just went with like a small block V8 from a Corvette and they were like, it looks like the original one.
Nick it.
No, okay.
Yeah, no. So the rest of the Norwood, there's about I want to say 6 or 7 Norwood P4s floating about. This is the very first one they made back in the 80s with a proper engine. They spent months and months building this V12, and the later ones have the engine from a 550 Maranello.
Right.
Literally
really?
straight into the car. Yeah.
Ooh.
So, and if you Google it, it comes up with that. It's like, what engine is in an Norwood P4 550 Maranello? But this one is, a proper hand-built Ferrari-esque.
Nice.
V12.
See, that's what I find fascinating. Like, I'm not afraid to admit that I don't like replicas and non-original cars.
Yeah.
But I don't think many people do.
No,
there's a difference between a replica and a recreation.
But that's the thing. Like, most replicas are just some similar-ish body on like an MR2 chassis, and they you start them up, and it's like a stock MR2 engine. Which just, it has the looks, but it doesn't have the power.
Can confirm, it's not an MR2.
Exactly.
Here's that sound clip again.
No, but this is like when you go into this much detail to recreate a car, then it's just as good as the original one. I'm tempted to say. Like, if you don't like this kind of replicas, then try and get hold of a real P4. You won't. And that's why people do this, and that's why I actually understand this replica as opposed to like the more usual replicas. So I actually really like it.
There is a bigger story behind this car, and if you want to go and check that out, it's on a video by Supercar Driver. Max will probably put like a screenshot of the video.
I actually was. I've literally just added that to my notes. I was about to mention it. I'm literally scrolling down their YouTube channel right now to find the title. I'm pretty sure it's Le Mans Heroes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Le Mans Heroes. Go give that video a watch. The sounds in it are orgasmic, genuinely orgasmic. What a video! Make sure you go and watch that. Link will be in the top of the description. There's also a few videos on their channel with your dad and his cars. Correct?
Yeah. 275 GTB4. That's it. There's only 2 videos. But
nice.
Yes, that one.
And they're both about Ferraris. Nice.
But I think this is where we'll end that conversation, and we'll keep that for another.
Yeah.
I think we'll keep the collection talk for another video. For
yeah,
sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy this episode of something we haven't named yet, please feel free to leave a like, leave a comment, message me over on Instagram. 2 of our Instagrams will be on screen because Nav doesn't really have one you can go to. But if you'd like to give us any pointers, any advice, anything you want to do, you want to send us some ideas for the podcast, brilliant. Please do. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your opinions. So yeah, we're going to thank you for listening and see you around. I
See you
suppose.
next week.
See ya.
Definitely won't be next week.